Say the pledge.
Sounds good. I pledge
Allegiance
to the flag
to the flag
of the United
of
States,
the United States,
one
which
nation,
stands under God,
with liberty and justice for all.
But not necessarily in sync.
Not our finest performance.
That's why people don't
Hey,
sing.
Bob.
We're gonna do a round.
Yes. Deb, can you hear? Never mind, on my- Okay. Can everybody hear at home?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay. Don't worry, we got all of our sound, our like equipment. So next meeting is going to be very slick. Our hybrid setup. Okay. So online tonight we have Mike Beecher, John Malcolm, Deb, Julie, Keith, and 802-345-1605. Whoever's on the phone, you're muted, so I'm not sure. There's some sort of a combination of buttons you'll have to press if you want to unmute yourself, and just please be sure to introduce who you are before you talk. And in person tonight, we have Kevin Mason, Harley Cudney, Tom Fuller, Frank Nelson, myself, Jessica, Rich, and Bob, and Peg TV. For additions, Mike, so paving bids to be added to the road foreman's report section. There's been an event request on behalf of the library that I thought we could talk about under new business, and an executive session to talk about labor relations agreements with employees for the end of the meeting. I don't think there's any deletions. And the minutes that need approving tonight are from August 9th.
I will move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion made in a second for the minutes. All in favor? John?
Getting unmuted. Yes.
Yes. Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Motion approved.
There's no pre-requested appearances tonight. And
Any announcement?
none from me.
Okay. Reports.
So there's a zoning administrator's report. Jonas dropped off a zoning permits log as of August 17th, 2022. So that's just a full list of all of the permits that have been approved thus far.
Okay. Any questions or comments on Jonas's report? Okay, we'll move on to planning commission, and I guess there's nothing new on that because you haven't had a meeting yet.
No,
right?
we met last
Yeah.
night. We met last night, Mike, but I haven't had a chance to write up a written report, but I can just give a quick verbal report here and then send my written report along. The planning commission
that's great.
Yep, the planning commission met last night. We're continuing to work with Ed Bowe from Rutland Regional Planning Commission on updates to the zoning bylaws with the general concept of making it easier for people to build housing, different kinds of housing, more units, and to do more things with their property than they were able to in the bylaws before. So we've been working on the village and commercial district, which is in the village of West Pawlet and in the village of Pawlet. And what we were working on last night was trying to reduce we were looking at the setbacks and the dimensional coverage requirements. And we want to sort of greatly scale those back so that it's more flexible for people to do things with their properties. We are having a bit of a discussion about how to deal with the difference between the village of Pawlet, which is on septic, and the Village of West Pawlet, which is on sewage. And we have about 3 different ideas for how that might be resolved, so we're still working through those. Next time, we're gonna be continuing that discussion and working on talking about parking requirements in the different zones. That's basically what we've been up to.
Okay, anybody have any questions for the planning commission's report? Any comments? Okay, we'll move along to the road foreman's report. And I believe the first thing, Rick, you got is some paving prices?
Yeah, I don't have them here in front of me, but,
So there were 2 bids that came in. Keith texted me and mentioned he was coming down.
he was coming to the meeting?
I think so.
Okay, 'cause that's him right there. He just drove by.
Okay.
He didn't mention that earlier, so that's
I
good.
just got a text from him that said that was happening.
We've also got some ideas on winter sand as well, Mike. What we're
Okay.
gonna do, so. This isn't
I guess we can open up the paving contract first. I see Tom's there. He doesn't need to hang out for all the rest of the meeting, so we can get that.
Rich is opening them right now.
Just taking me a minute.
Perfect, thank you. So what is this stretch of road that you got the prices on, Rich?
It's Buttons Falls,
From where to where?
from Route 30 to, the New York State line. With one,
Okay, Lee Road.
yeah, with one, apron on Briar Hill, 40 foot.
Pass that down to Bob.
Perfect timing. Is the person that's on the phone from Pike,
Will, I think.
Will
Tim Rice?
or Tim Bryce? They're muted. Let me see if I can ask.
And that's still paving.
Hi. Great.
I've just been listening in.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure you could contribute or participate.
Do we need to read the bids out for John and Mike?
Rattle them off, Robert.
Okay. Fuller Sand and Gravel, price per ton at $89.42. Estimated tonnage for the project, 2,276 tons. Total price, $203,519.92. Wilk Paving Incorporated, $86.40 a ton. Estimated tonnage, 2,240 tons. Total project, $193,536 even. So the estimated tonnage is within 36 ton. And the price is $10,000 apart.
So, with these bids, Keith, you're very familiar with these. As far as the shoulder work goes, I mean, that's not in here, is it typically not in?
Not in there, no. We have made arrangements with Tom in the past, and he's done our shoulder work for us. In combination helps us out. We've drawn the material, send guys down with a sweeper and a shoulder machine, yes. No question about that.
Tim, are you still on, or can you hear us?
Yep, I do.
Do you guys have a shoulder machine available, or do you offer that service?
From time to time, not often, but we do have a machine or have access to one depending on the project.
I was just talking with the town crew today, and they were just saying that that's a pretty important service for us to get, just because they try and run it through the sander, and it takes them forever. It's just not worth the aggravation. So that's probably something that we should try and get a handle on, because that's a pretty important piece of this project.
Well, I didn't price that because it wasn't.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I didn't even pay attention to it. And I just remember last year that came up after the paving was done, and Keith had already had that taken care of. Do you have any idea what that would cost per foot?
I really wouldn't want to say off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, okay.
Typically shoulder gravel is done by the yard or ton, and it would depend on the depth and the width of shoulder you requested.
What do you typically do, Keith,
With what?
as far as width and depth on the shoulder?
Well, yeah, it's as needed. It's not a exact measurement we can put down there. For Tim's price, I mean, it's not gonna be a fit fill, but it's gonna be, it'll be 18 inches to 24 inches off the shoulder probably. And we usually stockpile close, so we can put the area to a machine, dump right in and go. We can get roofers to help us if we need more trucks. So it goes pretty quick. Probably could do that road in a good day. I mean, in a good day. It would be a real day, but.
So, go ahead.
I guess my question is, would Wilk be willing to provide a shoulder machine for a day, if we provide the gravel and put the shoulder on? That's what we've done in the past, correct?
Yeah, I don't know, we've done big arrangements with Tom and got it done, but, yeah.
Right.
He provided a shoulder machine and a sweeper, a broom,
Right.
on a skid steer.
So maybe what we ought to do is just maybe next week or whatever, get a handle on how much what kind of value that's gonna be. I mean, your prices are pretty close, and I mean, we probably ought to get a handle on that, because that's a service we're gonna have to have. Can you do that, Tim?
I mean, you're looking for a day rate for a machine and a broom and a roller, and you would truck the gravel or?
Correct.
Just supply the gravel?
No, we'd supply the gravel. The trucks and the gravel.
So you'd want us to haul it?
No, we would haul it.
Okay, I just, cause sometimes, some trucks don't fit in the shoulder machine well enough, but if you've got a history of that, maybe, you know, they might work, you know, pendle hooks or things like that. Sometimes they don't fit in the hopper of the machine, depending on the type of truck and the distance from the rear tires to the, back of the body, things like that.
We have some that work and some that don't, but between us and Rupert, we can have them on trucks.
We'd have it stockpiled right there close by anyways.
And stockpile everything yet anyway now.
Mike, are you there?
Yeah.
What do you think?
But I think it's very important that we have a quote from both people on what it's gonna cost us to have the shoulders done, because we certainly don't have the capacity to handle that in an effective manner. So if we could, I understand what he says about whether or not the trucks are going to be able to, work with their machine. And that's a question, since we've never worked with him before, so I don't know how we could determine that.
Now, if we,
The other,
go ahead.
Well, I have to discuss that with Keith or something, but it's been a lot of years, but we have worked in down Pawlet in the past, but we've never installed shoulder gravel. From my recollection,
Well, why don't we, get put a price together on it and get it to us next week and we can make a decision. We're gonna have to wait till the next meeting to make a decision on that, or how would that work?
I would say yes.
Neither one of you guys, Tom or Tim, would be able to get to it in the next couple of weeks anyways, probably, right?
Quite often in the past, we've held the decision on the payment contract till the next meeting anyway, so. I think we won't be too far behind the 8 ball. Well, we still have a couple of months left that can be accomplished. Do they both feel that they can fit it into their work schedule, even if they don't know for 2 weeks?
Tom, is that,
Doesn't affect us, we're happy with it in 2 weeks.
Tim, how about you?
yeah, we could most likely make that work. I just, feel like, you know, you put the bid out as is, and, that's all. It's, not what the numbers are out there. It's just one of those things that we'll do what we can to give you our best price on the shoulders.
Right, that's not gonna change the paving, prices. So, I think that's something that we need to make sure.
The award of the low price to the award of the bid.
Okay, well, we'll revisit at the next meeting.
Okay. Am I free to reach out to Keith, or Rich and just talk about the logistics of it and so forth to get a handle on, you know, how we're gonna go about it? Or
Yes.
is it?
Yep, you can get
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
Okay.
Is there any more questions regarding the paving? Good. I understand what you gentlemen are saying, that it wasn't really fair to do it this way, but it was something that we missed during this bidding process. We certainly didn't do it intentionally, but we'll need that to be part of the job for a complete job. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we got highway, winter material, Rich.
Yeah, so we've got some prices on, three-quarter drainage from SLC and their winter sand, as well as some sand prices from, Charlie Holcomb and Stan, Martell. So, same as last year, that three-quarter drainage from SLC, that'll work great for the dirt roads. And that's a good price. Not up as much as I figured it was gonna be this year, taking everything into account. As far as the winter sand from SLC, I think we need to decide, I think we need some more time to decide what we wanna do on that. Whether we wanna go with the stone from SLC, or if we wanna mix some of Charlie's or Stan's in. Just to run through the sanders, that three-quarter hangs up in the sanders a bit. So we do need to blend it with something a little finer, so they're not fighting those sanders when they get to the roads they want to sand. And I haven't looked at the SLC sand. I'm not familiar with it. I know what Charlie's and Stan's sand is. So I think.
Well, I'm not. Go ahead, Rich.
So I think, you know, if we all decided to turn the guys loose on hauling a three-quarter inch drainage to start with, and then we can decide what we want to do before next meeting on the winter sand. We know what we need for approximate yards of that at West Pawlet and Pawlet. So if they get some time during the week, they can start drawing that drainage if everybody's in agreement.
Okay. My opinion is that we don't want to put any sand product on. I don't want to see anything on the road smaller than a 3/8 product. Because all I've seen is that any of the sand products that we put on the roads, it's just detrimental to the road surface. By spring, it ends up being a slime on all the roads. And that's what I'm seeing, and I don't like it. I'd rather spend more money and put a better product that didn't deteriorate the road surface all winter long.
Yeah, if we're putting 100+ tandem loads on these dirt roads in winter, it might as well be good material. And there's not much of a price difference either between the two. The three-quarter drainage is $11.90 a ton. I don't know exactly. I had the calculations at the office what a yard weighed. And the winter sand is $10.90 at SLC. Stan, the winter sand is $12 and Charlie is $9.50. And I do know the SLC material is quite a lot lighter than the granite over at in Hartford at Joint of Galusha. So you're getting more volume. So
Is the winter sand from SLC, is that pretty fine?
I'm not sure if it is or not.
Very fine.
Is it?
Is it stone chips, basically?
It's stone chips, it's not dust, but it's very fine.
Clean?
Yeah, pretty clean. I've never used it, it doesn't have any color to it, that would concern me a little.
And that was a concern that Dale had today when I was talking to him as well, was the color. Of course, that's something that you could, if you're gonna use any sand on the pavement or the asphalt at all, you're gonna mix salt with it anyways, right?
Yeah, any of that sand that we're getting is not good enough for the blacktop.
Any of the sand from SLC?
Okay, that sand would be all right, but the stone and stuff, no.
Oh, right, that's all dirt road stuff, the three-quarter, yeah. And that's got a bunch of fines in it. The three-quarter drainage has a bunch of fines in it, smaller stone. And I thought that worked great last year on the dirt. So do you want to go ahead and start with the 3/4 drainage and then, decide what we want to do on the winter sand? I should probably go look at that and get a sample of it from SLC and just see what it is.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing, just have a sample of that material. But the 3/4 we know is a very good product for the back roads, especially when we get rain events.
Yeah, and I think the only challenge with it is there needs to be some more fines mixed with it in order to get the sanders not to bind up and lock up on them as they pound their way they load up and then, you know, shake and shimmy all the way to the next road. The stuff binds up on them if they're loaded heavy.
But I wonder if we could do a combination of their winter sand, put a few buckets of that in to keep it all lubricated well.
I'll go grab some of that material this week and look at it. I think the biggest concern, or at least that I'm hearing, is just the color. They want some dark material in there mixed with it, but I really don't know if that makes a big difference or not.
In the sunshine, there's an off. It's all white, it doesn't draw the sun. And it helps if the general public can see some color on there and know there's something on that road as opposed to white stone on white snow. You can't see it.
Doesn't seem like you guys are putting anything on at that point, right?
We get calls complaining when there's nothing wrong, but they just can't see it.
And in my opinion, I don't want any of that. I wouldn't want any of that Charlie or Stan material on our dirt roads if we could help it. Just because I've seen what it does. And you're putting 100 and some loads on a year. But you guys are working with it too. And if it's giving you trouble, then the sanders and...
Well, I think the other side of that coin is the top dressing program. If you don't put anything on the top of your road for 10 years, and you got 10 years of accumulation of winter sediment on there, you've got a problem. But if you top dress that road routinely like you should, you're covering that up and blending it back in. So there's two sides to that story. So, but winter sand is definitely a contaminant in your quality road material, no question.
What do you think, Jessica?
I agree with what everyone says about not putting the sand on the roads, you know, because it messes it up, like how Mike said.
My suggestion is we just start with a 3/4. I'll get a sample of the SLC sand and we can decide on that next time. But we got, 1,500 yards of the 3/4 to draw, so they won't be finished doing that before the next meeting.
I wouldn't drive over here for a sample. If we send one of the guys after a load, they can bring one home and not have to make a special trip over there.
I was looking for an excuse.
Yeah, I know.
I'll come pick you up.
Okay.
So do we have to make a motion to do that, or?
Yes. We'll make a motion to buy the winter sand, and second it, we can vote on it, and then we can get that piece going to 3/4 inch.
So I'll make a motion to start hauling the 3/4 inch drainage from SLC to 800 yards to West Pawlet and 600 yards to Pawlet to start with.
Sure, I'll second that motion.
You're not taking into
Any more?
anything from Volusia? They've got the same stone at a comparable price in West Pawlet, and they very well come easier from there than Wallingford.
That stuff is heavy per yard.
You might be right there. It's probably less volume per ton.
Harry brought a sample of it over today.
He did, okay.
He did.
It's darker.
It is darker.
It's what?
It's
It's
darker.
darker, so it would be an advantage.
Yeah, but it's a blend of different sizes too, correct?
The SLC is, yeah.
But Deletion is too, isn't it?
The number ones and number twos, it said, so the number ones are 3/8 to ½ inch.
Yeah.
The number twos were, it was 3/4 to ½ inch, but that was extremely coarse. I mean, it's not soft at all. That's really gonna bind.
Well, yeah, and it's also, their sizes run bigger. Their 3/4 stone is more like a 7/8 maybe.
Yeah, it was,
It's,
there's nothing that I would wanna put in a sander.
yeah,
And the number ones, 3/8 to ½ inch, just seemed a lot more burly, fractured, and just would bind a lot tighter. And I do have the, how much a yard weighs of that, and it's quite a lot heavier than the,
yeah, I don't know what the conversion is. Wallingford, I would think would be somewhere as, 1.3 or 4 tons per yard. That in that neighborhood, Deletion probably, I don't know, 1.6, 7 maybe.
it was pretty significant.
Yeah. And, so, all right.
Yeah, I think we know that that stuff works. We had good luck with it last year. So,
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor made and second to get the 3/4. Is there more discussion?
What's the
All in favor?
price?
Excuse me, was there a discussion?
yeah, so,
What's
yeah,
the, do you want the price in the motion
it's $11.90.
per ton? And you said 800 yards to Pawlet and 600 to West Pawlet?
800 to West Pawlet and
Okay.
600, that's gonna change, potentially,
800 to West Pawlet and 600 to Pawlet
yes.
for 11.90 a ton. Okay, thanks. Mike, I'm good.
Okay, all in favor? John?
Yes.
Jessica?
yes,
Rich?
Yes,
Bob?
Yes.
Motion carried. What other good stuff do we have to talk about as far as the highway department?
so they've finished filling the foundation in there, the old Dutchie store. I was there today and that looks good. The only thing I noticed is we might want to take and cut the bolts off coming up out of the top of the foundation. But other than that, it looks good and nobody's gonna fall through that deck, so. They did a great job on it.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Anything that could catch somebody and hurt them, that, we certainly don't need that. So if they could get down there with a grinder or something and snip them off, that would be huge.
But no, that looks
It's good
good.
that that's all filled.
Harley has a question, Mike.
Cutting off the bolts versus capping them or some piece of wood on top of them that's hard to remove. But I don't know what the future is for that foundation, but the bolts are, makes it easier to do whatever you might do. That's the only thing that occurred to me is, can it just be, a block of wood put on and that's hard to remove?
Probably could.
That's easier or harder?
But you can drill and lag so easily now that
Oh, okay, in that case then,
with epoxy or,
Just
Okay.
put hill piece in there and
oh,
away you go.
okay, thank you, it's not the issue I thought it was.
so we also had talked about, Chet's got his crusher back up and running. So hopefully within the next week or so, they can finish topping the Kelly Hill Road and wrap that project up. And that road turned out really nice.
And you're gonna take that all the way to Little Hill for us, right?
Not this year.
If you have extra though, just keep.
So will that have to be, that's a grant project, right?
That is a very back road grant, yes.
So we'll have
Grants
to,
and aid.
grants and aid, so we'll have to finish that out.
We spent way more than the grant.
Okay,
The grant is 20-some thousand.
but we'll have to,
Trying to buy the gravel.
okay, but maybe we can get together and get together what we need to close that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one other issue, over on the North Pawlet Road, there's a box culvert. And, the edges of that box, it's settling around that box culvert. And I don't know if we're gonna have to put some shim around it or grind the edges or what, but we're gonna have to do something with that. Have you been over that road at all, Mike?
No, I haven't in a while.
Keith, what do you have for
Need
suggestions?
a shim.
Just shim right over it?
Yeah. Fairly long, 60 feet before and after, so you can blend it together and not, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't take a lot, but it needed there's probably a 3-inch bump there on one side.
Yeah, it's pretty significant. So that's something we're gonna have to do.
Is that something that we can just get a load and spread it with the grader, or?
Potentially, Mike, it depends. Sometimes we can get the paving crew to get their fingers in a vice or something and convince them to do a little bit of that, but they're kind of busy and it entails a move and it gets complicated, but, yeah, definitely could be done with a grader.
And do you have,
Okay, that would,
sorry, Mike.
that would make it easier for us. We wouldn't have to hire somebody to come in and do it, so.
Yeah, it gets,
And Keith, do you have a little bit of an
We
update?
can add that to the list.
I didn't hear you, Mike.
He just said.
We can add that to the list then, Rich?
Yes.
I still didn't hear you.
Okay.
Add the shimming to the box culvert
Yeah,
to the list.
And also just a quick little update on 153, the road there that's, you
Well-
have some details on who you're working
ongoing
with.
discussion, about getting a significant amount of money. It's, still open-ended, but we've got an open line of communication with them and it hasn't dead-ended yet, so we're still pursuing it, so.
And that's the federal government, right?
That's FEMA, yes. So, yeah, we may have to, hire somebody to draw some prints, so. That's not for sure yet, but that's where they're leaning, I think, so. Which they'll give us some money to start with and do that too, so.
Good. That's all I've got to offer.
Is there any local engineering companies that are qualified to do that work, or do we need to find somebody that maybe's done some work with the state or something like that?
Yeah, we might even be able to get the state to contribute on that a little bit, with their in-house help, but I don't know whether, we'll have to see. The contact is out of the office again all of a sudden till the end of this week, so we won't have anything till next week any further, so.
Okay.
I sent a scope of work into her, Mike, and she's happy with that, but she's suggesting that we may have to have something drawn up, a plan of how we're gonna do it, rather than just dump a bunch of rock in the hole and some new road on top of it, so.
We did get the executed agreement for the $100,000 on that structures grant. So I'm just looking at that right now. We should just wrap our arms around the timing
Yeah.
for all of that and when we need to fulfill all of that by. The award end date isn't until December 31st of 2024. So there's some time to use that.
Right. My thoughts are that restrained money probably should be used to put the road back on top. That's where they say $100,000 there, that we're gonna have 40 in guardrails. You know, plus blacktop, and you know, that $100,000 will eat up 3 sats right there. And if we can get some assistance on bringing the base up to where it belongs and getting it widened out and tapered off, it should be good.
Yeah, the project,
Okay, anything? Go ahead, Kristen.
no, I'm good.
So is there anything more discussion with the town highway crew?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, thank you. We'll move on. And the next.
Assessor's report,
Is there anything for me?
Nope, nothing came in to my email. John, I don't know if you've heard of anything.
No, I haven't, but next Monday, Lisa's supposed to be in the office with Karen, and I'll try to contact them when they're both there, and for them to come up with a report for us on our next meeting.
Okay, sounds good, thank you. The town clerk's memo?
Think?
Yeah, Kristen, if you can read that to them, that would be great.
Sure. So one sealed bid was dropped off today. David Ricard from Aris has reached out to inquire about and perhaps answer questions regarding the quote he gave for air purification in the town hall. I did inform him that Jessica was on vacation and I would reach out to him upon her return. And Jessica has relayed that David Ricard has requested to be on the agenda for the next meeting to provide more information about air purification. So I'll be adding him then on September 9th. Deb will be attending the Vermont Municipal Clerks and Treasurers Annual Meeting on September 20th and 21st. On August 29th, Estes will be delivering to the town office. This is a 215-pound delivery of the speed signs. We will notify whomever you designate that they have arrived, and have a good meeting. That's really quick. I just ordered those like a week and a half ago. Can we, Deb, you can, I guess, let me know when they come in, and then.
Okay, yeah, he's gonna call me when he's about a half an hour outside of delivery here, because they came yesterday, but they must have come after 4 o'clock. So I called them today, and they're going to deliver on Monday, but they're gonna call a half hour out so we can make sure, and they're gonna call me on my cell phone, just in case it's before 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And then they'll, if I can't be there, or really, I can't just hear myself.
We can hear you well.
Okay. I just felt like there was a lot of sound. So anyway, if I can't be there, or if Julie's not going to be there, if it's at a time that we're not there, I will make sure that Kristen, I'll make sure you know, so that somebody can be there for delivery. But we've made connections, so we're in good shape.
Okay. Cool. And that is the town clerk's memo.
Yep, unless there's any for me.
Anyone else have any questions for Deb? All right, thank you very much, Deb.
Yep, thank you.
Town treasurer's report.
Hi, this is Julie. I don't have much on my report besides the 2 memo, or the 2 warrants, and just let everyone know we're getting busy with tax collection. What I forgot to write on my memo, and what I wanted to make sure that we discuss either here or under wastewater, is if I had left Jessica a list at your last meeting of the repairs and maintenance for wastewater, and I just wanted to see if we have an update on where we stand with ARPA funds for those projects.
Julie, I'm sorry, I don't have an update for you yet. I've been away these 2 weeks. So I can get that information. Is 2 weeks from now okay?
Yeah, but I think I want to put it on your radar to make a final decision at your next meeting.
Yeah, okay. Because I know you had a
Or at
question.
least get an idea of if we can just if we can bulk put the money in, then it doesn't matter as much what we call it for. But if we can't, then I need that decision to be done next week.
Yeah, and you sent me the exact information about the kind of fund, and I need to check with Rutland Regional Planning Commission on it, which I will do. I'm making myself the note here. We can then make the decision in 2 weeks for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so everybody have a chance to look the warrants over? Does anybody want to make a motion on the warrants?
Sure, I'll make a motion on the warrants that we pay 23008 and 23009.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so Jessica and Bob have a motion and second. Any more discussion? All in favor? John?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Carried. Thank you. Now we're on to emergency management. Nothing for right now, right?
Nothing for right now.
Health officer?
Nothing for tonight either.
Okay. Wastewater. We had an issue, I guess it was early last week, maybe the week before, I don't know, it all flies. But we didn't have any power at the facility, so I went down there, and it turned out that the generator was apparently exercising and then faulted out, and the transfer switch didn't automatically go back. So I was able to manually put the transfer switch back to CV power. That brought the power back on for the wastewater plant. And I called, we had a contract with Kinsley out of Albany, and I was able to cancel that, and I got Gary's generator out of Dorset, who he looked at it one other time for us. It just makes much more sense to bring him in from Dorset than those people out of Albany. So he came over, he found a couple issues with it, he's working on getting them corrected, and getting the generator all squared away so that
Bob needs these.
it won't trip like that again. The other thing, Jill found that she was getting alarm activations for like a bad ground and such like that, and couldn't figure it out. So she got the alarm people to check it out, and it turned out that lightning had struck the alarm board and it burned out the board. So we're in the process of getting a quote for a new board. to get that squared away. Fortunately, there's no actual wiring issues. It was just a defective alarm.
Frank has a question, Mike.
If it's a lightning strike, insurance will probably be able to pay some money on that.
Yeah, we'll look into that once we get the price for the board, Frank. I appreciate you mentioning that.
Mike, I have a
And I
question.
think that's about. Yes, go ahead.
It's about it's not exactly about wastewater, but this came up last night at Planning Commission. Do you know how we can get hold of the exact map of where the sewer, serves in West Pawlet? Because we want to compare that to the zoning map.
Yeah, there's maps inside the sewer treatment plant. Where inside, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure if you texted Jill, she could tell you
All right,
where they are, so you could get.
I'll get hold of Jill, thank you.
Any other questions regarding the sewer plant?
This is Julie. I have my hand raised on that.
Go ahead, Julie.
Thank you. I think it would be a really good idea to get those maps digitized in some form, just in case.
I agree with you. I don't know where we get a big map like that digitized, but.
We got it.
Well,
I
our
know
new
they've got
scanner,
it, but-
we got an email about that.
We have an email about digitizing. I don't know what part of the business that would come up in.
Who did that? Oh, scanner.
It may very well be a small copy of that in the zoning the sewer regulation handbook too. That map may be in that book.
Mike, we got an email from somebody out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, that Julie had sent us all. Somebody named Jake Becker from recordsforce.inc, saying that he works with towns all over Vermont to use ARPA funding for digitizing municipal files that span from land records, books to large format maps. He was reaching out to see if our town had discussed this or is looking to continue these efforts. The ARPA grant has been very helpful for municipal offices to upgrade their document management and so on and so forth.
Maybe we should get him in touch with Jonas, because that's what Jonas wants to do, is scan the zoning documents.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Jonas has been wanting to source a scanner, but this might be a good alternative option instead of purchasing a big scanner that, I mean, I don't know, to weigh the pros and cons of it. I don't know the map world well enough, but.
This is Julie. I know Jonas had talked about other town clerks in the area too that I think hadn't used ARPA funds to buy a scanner, so it may, I mean, working with one of these companies may be the right thing to do, but it may also behoove us to look around to other municipalities within, you know, however many miles or minutes of drive time that would be willing to, you know, allow us to use one of their pieces of equipment for nominal fees.
That makes good sense, Julie. Maybe Jonas can give us a couple of names we could try. Anybody else have any questions about the sewer plant?
Mike, Frank has his hand up.
Yeah, a question for Julie. In with the sewer bill, there was a couple listings. There was one for could help out people who need help financially, with a Vermont program on water and wastewater. And I called them up because of the planning group in West Pawlet. Wanting to make things better for everybody in town. And there's an application, and if everybody in town had that application, they could submit it in writing and see if they can get their sewer bill paid, which may help us if that program continues going forward with the with these issues we have with costs. If the state can come in and help individuals out that need it, particularly, to one degree or another.
Okay, that's a good idea, Frank.
Okay.
All right, anybody else have any questions or comments on the sewer? Okay, I guess we'll move on to the facilities report. I did talk to Dave Armstrong the other day. He was at work, and he still doesn't quite have total final pricing, and he was asking me about what we wanted to do with the deck. And I told him that to give it a good thorough evaluation, to just replace part of the boards and then end up having to come back in a few years and replace more doesn't really make sense to me. So it seemed like maybe we should just get a price on replacing all the deck boards all the way around, and then we would be done with it for quite some time. So he was going to look that over and talk to his father about what they feel would be the best course of action for that. He's quite busy, but he plans on stopping back in, looking at the door, looking at the window for you, Julie, and we're kind of interested if Harley had anything to feedback in regarding the front steps of the library.
I looked at the front steps today with Lindsay Barnes, the director. There's no immediate crisis. There's no safety issues at this present time. The patching that was done, you can see that it's already chipping away in a couple of minor places. It isn't a long-term solution. If the solution of, if I understand it, and I'm repeating this third or fourth hand from something Bob Jones had found as a possible path forward, of grinding the steps down and covering it with a material that sticks well to concrete as well as is not slippery in the winter. If that can be pursued and implemented in the next year or two, that would be a long-term 30-year type solution to the front steps. There's no immediate problem with safety, though.
All right, Harley, thank you for looking into that for us.
So I have a little report related to facilities. Yeah, so I know that a little while ago I mentioned that there was a historic preservation grant coming up. That grant is open now. It is due Monday, October 3rd. And this is a grant for repairing buildings that are either on the historic register or are at least 50 years old and could be on the historic register, which for us, I believe, is the town hall and the library both. These grants are 50% grants, and they go up to $20K. So if we had a project that was like, say, a $10K project, we could get $5,000. So in order to apply for one of those grants, we would need an estimate by the contractor of how much the work would cost. I mean, and I'm kind of thinking, if we're getting work done on the town hall anyway, there's no particular reason, right, that we might not want to apply for a grant to cover half of it. The only thing is we'd have to get the estimate in the next couple weeks here in order to get a grant done by October the 3rd.
So, you end up broke up a little bit, but that would get an estimate to do the porch, or do you have a different?
I don't know, I was just thinking, you know, we could use it for something, right? It could cover the porch. I was thinking about the library steps, but if we don't have to do that right away immediately for safety, and we do have to do the porch, maybe the porch would be, would he be doing the work, Mike, this year on the porch, or would he be doing it like in the spring?
I think he was going to try and do it before winter this year. But if we could get a grant, we could hold off, I'm sure.
Yeah, because the grant.
I don't believe that part of the porch is that bad a shape.
Yeah, because the grant is, if we get the grant, I didn't look at what date when they award it, but you can't do it for projects you did before you got the grant. You can't, you can't backward, you can't go, some grants let you go backwards, but this one does not. You would have to do the work after you got the grant.
What about the front door?
When would the grant be awarded?
I didn't look that up. I can look it up though and email everybody. I would assume
More than likely it would
probably late November or December or something, yeah.
Okay. So we could get a quote and apply for the grant, and then he could do it in the spring. There's really no reason why that wouldn't work. If we could get half the money, why wouldn't we?
Yeah. If we get the grant, you know, so it is competitive.
Well, that makes good sense. I think we should apply for that.
Okay.
Are you willing to accept,
Yep.
Jessica?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Everybody else okay with applying for that grant?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, John. So I'm guessing, yeah, everybody's in favor of that. So good. Thank you, Jessica. Is there any other facilities report? Okay. Older unfinished business.
I don't think there is anything.
Okay, no older unfinished business. Any new business?
Yes.
Okay.
Lindsay Barnes from the library. There's a request to utilize the Town Hall Auditorium on Friday, October 7th for a concert from Freddie Shahadi. Same as last year. They would be requesting to use the space. So they would need access to the building from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., which includes the setup and the cleanup, and the concert will likely start at 7 and go until 9:30, but the exact times are to be determined. But Lindsay has requested approval to use the space for that.
Is everybody in favor of letting the library use the Town Hall Auditorium?
Yes.
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 Okay, sounds unanimous to us.
I will
You
let,
can send her a message and let her know that that's all set.
okay. Okay, that's all I had for new business.
That's it for new business. Is there any other new business? Is there any public comment?
Harley Cudney,
Harley?
if the magnitude of the porch project, I don't know what the size of the estimates are of what needs to be done there, is about the size of what they're offering for the match for this, what you just mentioned. That sounds like a good way forward, but if it isn't, maybe the front steps would make more maximal use of what they might be offering, and I would offer to help prepare that grant. The big hurdle would be getting a quote
Yeah.
from someone that you might know.
I only know we've had trouble getting hold of anybody to come look at the concrete.
Yeah.
That would be the holdup, I agree.
So I just want to mention that to be thought of. I'm not sure what the size of the front porch project is, but if it's that big, also about the same, $20,000, then that's the way to go.
And we could probably, thinking of it, we could probably bundle in the front porch project and the door and the windows, the several things that need to be done on the town hall, if we wanted to.
I think that the door, and Julie and Deb, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding was that the door is sort of a priority before it turns cold. Am I correct on that?
I stand corrected then.
Well, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's what I gathered from other conversations.
That would make sense.
And there is quite a bit of heat loss out of that door.
Well, then it should get done before the winter, for sure.
We'll learn that from the Efficiency Vermont.
Yes, they'll come and say, fix your door.
Yes, they'll say you definitely should improve your door project.
Mike, this is Rich. I wanted to bring up the masks.
Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to bring up the masks.
That's on the agenda for,
Next. Okay.
don't let me stop you, but that's
No, that's
to
all I
be
was gonna
discussed
bring
next
up,
time, yeah.
Because we had talked about it a few meetings
Yes,
ago. and,
so, Jennifer Sullivan has volunteered for the first meeting of the month when she does the health officer's report to include what the most recent state guidelines are for masking. And provide that,
We can make a vote after that.
yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, and she'll update us the first Monday of every month.
Yeah.
The first meeting of every month, she'll update us on the guidelines. Is there anything else under public comment? Nothing, okay. We need to go into executive session to discuss some personnel issues.
Yes,
Does somebody want to make a motion to go into executive session?
Bob just waved his hand. I think maybe he made the motion.
No, I didn't know if, Kevin, did you have something before we?
Yeah, I live on Kelly Hill Road, and with the recent work, it's left a fairly sharp drop into my driveway on the road surface. And when the rain or the snow melts the water runs across my driveway and gets the culvert to go under the road. I wondered if the town would look to provide the culvert and the gravel to restore my driveway to the original height of the road surface.
I'll come right out and take a look at it with you. Just let me know when you'll be there, and if it's something we created a monster at your place, we'll fix it. Just let me know when you're available and, or, what time would work for you. If you want to name a time right now, I can meet you over there.
Tomorrow would be, I'm not sure what you're doing tomorrow, but.
I can make it happen. You tell me 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock?
Sure. 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. And we'll take a look. I know they're not finished on that road either, so we'll come check it out with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we do.
yeah, so Bob made the motion to enter executive session to
I
discuss
seconded it.
labor relations agreements with employees.